to know a little bit about what this lot do. I also edit the quarterly magazine for the Association of Group Travel Organisers, AGTO. So delighted to be here to be part of this session, looking at how customer expectations are impacting on coach tour operators. And when I say customers, I don't just mean passengers, I also mean the relationship that our operators have as customers themselves of hoteliers and other suppliers. And it says here, joining me to look at this are 3 leading coach operators. Well, we couldn't get them, so we got these 3. But in alphabetical order, otherwise I get complaints. David Blake, next to me, Managing Director of Blake's Coaches based in Tiverton in Devon. Jason Edwards at the end, the glamorous Jason Edwards, owner of Jason Edwards Travel in South Wales, and Amanda Harrington, outshining all of us, Sales and Marketing Director with Baker's Dolphin, based in Weston-super-Mare. Now, I'm going to ask each member of the panel to say a few words about how they're adapting to changing expectations, and in particular, now listen carefully, are hoteliers, visitor attractions and tourism suppliers adapting too? And I think we'll start with Amanda, because you're the expert.
Okay.
Just picking up on that topic then, yes, the customer on your coaches their expectations are changing. Mm-hmm. But can you touch on that, and also then, as we say, whether hoteliers now with perhaps fewer staff after COVID, when you are contracting with hoteliers, are you finding the service they're giving to you is changing? Your expectations are perhaps as they used to be, but are they being met? There you go. Over to you.
Well, I think without a doubt that the hotels are struggling with staff, and we get that endlessly all the time. Again, it's about making sure your customers are aware of what they are going to get when they get to the hotel. So communication for me is key. So every bit of communication we get from the hotel, whether it be that dinner's going to be between 7 and 8, or it's going to be a group dinner, or whether there's only going to be 3 choices, we need to make the customers aware of that before they arrive. And although we talk to our drivers about that, we then make sure that the hoteliers are aware that's what we're telling our clients as well. So again, it's not just exceeding their expectation, it's managing their expectations, which I think is a big thing for us at Baker's Dolphin. I think, it all starts at the booking process, really. When the client is on the telephone, to do that booking, you need to know a bit about what your client's expectations are. And as long as you've got a really good reservations team that know the product and your notes are good on the booking system, you can then sell it accordingly. But then if you get problems when you're there, it's up to the driver and the hostess to communicate with the hotel and us. Because, as we say in our booking conditions, there's very little I can do about it once you get home. So what we need to do is to make sure we meet your expectations while we're there. But that's all very well for all the regular clients, because they're used to the fact that you all go down at 7 o'clock, you eat as a group. But for the new clients that have never been on a coach holiday, and believe you me, that has been many people trying a coach holiday out. I think they've all had enough of the airports, if I'm honest. So a coach holiday is a really good thing. And it's trying to make those customers aware of what to expect when they travel on a coach holiday. And that's when it all comes into play. And that's why it's so important to make that first contact, all the staff make them aware what they're buying. And then when you get their travel tickets and their travel pack, we try to put as much information in there as we can, down to the Gordeno interchange, what happens at the interchange, what to expect on a gold holiday, what the system is, and also, whether it will be a 3-course dinner, a 3-choice, or a 4-choice if it's on one of our gold collections. So it's managing all those things, really, and I think we've got it about right. But we still get our problems, believe you me. And the other thing, the hotels will try and cut a corner a bit. Just looking at the table today, when we go on the continent, water is really important to customers at our age. Just cutting back, not giving any water out is just ridiculous. We need to make sure the hotels are up to speed, putting water in the room, because most of our clients will be taking tablets. Believe you me, they need that sort of thing. And that's, again, trying to be one step ahead and making sure that's on the rooming list, what is required. And that is just trying to tick all the boxes. Sorry if I've gone on too long.
No, no, very good. Right, well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Well done. So we said you could do it. Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Jason. Jason, everybody, well, many people will know you for being in the industry for a while, but obviously we can describe you now in the wonderful world of today as a startup, pretty much, with Jason Edwards Travel.
Yeah.
But coming back into it and setting something up in this way, picking up on Amanda's comments that things have changed a little bit out there, to say the least, and quite considerably in some areas. How are you finding it? What challenges are you facing in establishing your new program, which I understand is going very well? So,
Yeah, it's a funny sort of thing, really, because I've come from, an experienced sort of background to a new company again, and the challenges for anybody to come into this industry with legislation alone, you're bonding, you just getting a bank account. We haven't got 3 years worth of trading figures, for instance, so all of a sudden you're jumping through these hoops. But I think the reputation that I've got and the team, the guys that work with me as well, that stands us really firm, and it's been supported really by the industry. But just to pick up what Amanda said, it's a team game. We put a package together using the best hotels and suppliers that are friends of ours. We've known them for such a long time. Our customers have got a certain softness, really understanding, but they do expect value for money. It sometimes haven't got to be the cheapest, it haven't got to be the most expensive, but if we are marketing or selling a product and we've contracted at that rate with a 3-course dinner, 3 choices and everything else, we expect it. There's some cracking opportunities now for the industry. We can really, focus the customer sort of experience, whether it's to do, you look at Acklam's coach there, I know Amanda got some new coaches coming through the door as well. You're really travelling on first class vehicles now. To pick up on the airport thing again, do you really want to travel through an airport? I don't, I can get on that Acklam's coach now and it's sitting like it's business class. And, within a few hours, you're whisked into Europe, and the value for money you've got again, you're using 3-4-star hotels. We all know what we're doing. It's a sorry state of affairs, really, and I always say it, we're only as good as our last job. So we just got to make sure we sprinkle some magic into that customer experience. We support the hoteliers, because again, they don't always get it right, but it's not from the want to try and to get it right. So we just got to really have a balanced view overall of what we present to the customers. And lastly, enjoy it. Enjoy the job. It's a tough old life out there. I've come through the mill some sort of thing, and I've probably got a certain softness towards it now, but I'm really enjoying the job once more. I'm working with some fantastic people, working with some fantastic suppliers, and long may it continue.
and I think the point that you make, that this industry, we do it because it's fun, and looking around and seeing so many familiar faces, this is our community of people, and I think everyone's trying to work together in sometimes very difficult circumstances. I think, talking of difficult, no, that's very unfair on David, but talking of difficult circumstances, David, what challenges as a long, we've got to be careful with this one, haven't we? Being in the industry for a while, now, since COVID, and we were discussing this the other day on a Coach Tourism Association trade fam trip, which is another, and you'll hear from the CTA tomorrow. What have you found has changed in coach tourism over these last few years, probably since COVID?
Well, probably one of the main things, going back a little bit to what Amanda said, hotels are really, really struggling for staff. We have now got to dot the I's, cross the T's on absolutely everything when my tours manager is sat in the audience filming this for my wife, I'm sure. But we've got to cross the T's, dot the I's on every aspect of every tour, or whether it's a day excursion where we're running a day excursion down to our local town at Exmouth to put them on a wonderful boat company there at Stuart Line. And the people's expectations, our customers now have, I would say, doubled since COVID. I think in the lead up to COVID, people would put up with so much, basically, if a hotel let you down because the plates were cold, and many hotels, it's one of my wife's pet hates, if the plates are cold at an evening meal, when they're serving an evening meal, it's an absolute no-no. If you're never going to please everybody with how the food is cooked. I like my stuff well done. Others like it undercooked. You'll never please everybody. But people's expectations since COVID, I think, has grown to the extent that they will not tolerate things that go wrong now. Now, when we're out there, it doesn't matter what we do as a company or any of our 3 companies or anybody's companies there. If you're let down by a third party, you know, sometimes that is a real job to try and explain to our drivers to explain to our customers on the spot, or our drivers like these will have to report back to our office so we can get it chased up. I think people will not tolerate single room supplement is probably one of the biggest bone of contentions in our industry. We only get allocated a few rooms per tour, and then you've got to fight like heck to get more at a supplement, but they're still put in a box room at the back of the hotel, and you're trying to explain to Miss Jones that she's paid £100 supplement to stay in a substandard room at the back of the hotel with no sea view, etc. People will not tolerate that type of thing anymore. They expect, when they're paying £1,000 to go away on a holiday, to have £1,000 worth of return. So people's expectations today are greater. None of us go on holiday to have anything less than what we would have at home. And that's whether that's accommodation, riding on state-of-the-art coaches like Jason has just said. We can all supply them. Well, if we can buy them, we could have them. But you can't just get away with putting an old coach on these days with a driver ununiformed. People expect a certain level of service, sir and madam, until you're told to call them by their surname or Christian names. So people's expectations now are just so much greater, and we've got to try and think on our feet of catering, which means working in collaboration with hotels, with wholesalers. There's several out there looking at me now, waiting to throw tomatoes at me, because they said they would, and our insurance people. So we just need to have a greater understanding and working in collaboration with each other to get it right for our customer.
Thank you. I think we heard earlier today with one of the presentations looking at research that there is a move away from people wanting to fly. And the research, the commentator said that, that means probably you're limited to domestic UK travel. Well, you are in part, but nowhere in any of that research was any indication of the role that coach tourism plays at all, but also for near European. And around the hall we have people from Wallonia, southern Belgium, from Flanders, and other destinations. And coach tourism provides that, as we've heard. You don't have to go to an airport. And if you're in the audience and you've not been on a coach recently, go and look at the Acklam's coach. I forget what value that one will be, but a properly highly spec coach, you're getting towards £500,000, aren't you, these days? It's an astonishing bit of kit. And I think to persuade people who might be thinking, we don't want to fly, what are the options? There's a piece of work, isn't it, to encourage more younger oldies, shall we say, because older people probably have a bit more time to get on board a coach. But Amanda, all 3 of you are on the case with making sure that the service you've contracted is the service that you're going to get delivered when the coach turns up. Yeah. However, even the best hotels sometimes can let you down. Yes. Are you finding? Well, how are you finding that situation now? Is it leveling out? Are we still finding that situation? Do hoteliers of all sizes need to up their game, or are they about there with it?
I think of all sizes need to up their game. There's no doubt about that. I think I'm touching on what David said. The single room supplement is a real bone of contention. And if I'm honest, I think it's stunting our growth without a shadow. You know, we have more people on the wait list for singles than anything else. And this will make you laugh. The other day, last week, we had a member of my team come in to say that, we can have a double for sole use, but they're actually charging us more than what we would if we'd have put a fictitious person on the rooming list. You know, so it was more than the actual daily rate that we were paying for a double room, which is absolutely ridiculous. And that was a hotel I was dealing with in Scotland, and went back to them, we'd made an error on that. And you know, so that doesn't give you a lot of confidence. Again, it's about, you know, I have to say, it's about communicating all the time, and it's about walking away from hotels if they aren't delivering, because what you've got to understand is that is just damaging your reputation. And you might be thinking, I mean, we work out on a profit per page, and you might think, well, I've done 8 departures into that hotel and not one date has been delivered. And, you know, our customers' expectations are a little bit higher than maybe travelling with, not you, David, or you, Jason, but other coach companies, which I won't mention. But, you know, obviously they're happy with where they go, but obviously they're not happy once they travel with us. They expect a certain level, and it's trying to keep that up. And then you might sell 8 departures to that hotel at a cheaper rate, and it's a down market proposition. But unfortunately, you have to come to terms with, we're not going to get away with that. And all I'm doing week in, week out is answering complaints about that hotel. And so you walk away from it. You walk away from the profit 'cause it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's where I sit on it, really.
David?
I would go on to say also, and probably people will throw things at me now, but I think sometimes we are still looked at as second-class citizens. Our customers are. You will arrive at a 4 or a 5-star hotel, let alone your 3-star family-run hotels where you're welcomed in. Oh, you're with the coach group, are you? Oh, it's now 6:30, it's dinner time. Oh, you're with the coach group. Or, oh, yeah, you go down the corridor and you turn right, and in the second exit, you're in the 3rd dining room. How many times has that happened to us all? And our customers are there thinking, well, why are they sat over there? We all pay the same money. We're all the same people. Nobody's better than anybody else in life. And yet we are still treated as, oh, you're with the coach group. Not everywhere, but certain hotels have really got to address that situation going forward.
I'm going to pick up with Jason. Setting up a new product, even with your reputation, you know, it brings its own challenges. But if you're trying to encourage positive reputation.
Thanks for that.
God, who'd do this job? I tell you. But coming in and hopefully attracting perhaps some people who haven't been on the coach before. What are you doing to, if indeed you are, what are you doing to encourage or to establish a product that people outside of what probably you would have done back before COVID, if you see what I mean? There's an opportunity here to encourage some more younger oldies perhaps to come on board. Yeah. Are you actually doing anything different, or are you just making sure you're doing what we've always done, but if that makes any sense at all?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Social media is a massive thing now. You know, I think the booking system we had before, it was all web-based and, you know, word of mouth. You know, the impressions we make now on social media, they're massive for us. And, you know, we touched on something earlier, you know, this is no rocket science, right? You know, we're not astronauts, right? It's all about communication. We pay for a product, we expect delivery of that product. We all go away with smiling faces, it's easy, right? It's the key things when things are communicated are not quite right. We stayed in a great hotel last week, I think the week before, and dinner service was a little bit slower than what we expected. We spoke to the general manager the following night, it was seamless. So it's just sometimes we just got to take a step back, put it into the real world that we're living in, right? You know, you're not going to get a 3-course in 45 minutes and you wouldn't want it anymore anyway. You know, it's more about the luxury sort of product we're doing. But we certainly making big impressions now with social media, and that's a big thing for us. But you touched on earlier, one of the problems that we got, the industry, is attracting new customers just to try that holiday the once. Because we know when they go away, and I always try and tell people, especially new customers, don't do a 9-8 day tour to Austria, do a 1 or 2 night break, because if you don't like it, you've only lost 1 or 2 nights. generally it leads them to rebook on another holiday further afield. But it's just, know your market, know your product, enjoy what you do, work with some real good key suppliers, make sure your communication is bang on, and enjoy it.